As Cream Wizard just said right now in the chat, welcome everybody to another episode of Break the Rules. I'm your host, Lev Polyakov of Lev Po, and we have the first Canadian representative of the Afghanistan, the Emirate, Giovanni Pennacchietti, in the house.
Inshallah, my brothers, we drove the
Inshallah.
infidels into the sea, into the air, actually, more technically. Oh, no.
Oh.
Well, if any place that needs
Oh.
it, it's probably going to be Canada, where Gio's from, and of
Oh
course.
no, yeah, they're already gonna. Oh,
Yeah, and of course we got the great and powerful Patriot J, aka Sir Hottest on Twitter, Grifty award-winning rap artist, featured on the BBC, Breitbart, Rebel News, president of the Kunluminati. Welcome, Patriot J. Thank you so much for coming in, brother. And
What's up, fellas? Thank you for
what's up?
having me.
So let's get right down to it. Why did you decide to call yourself Patriot J? What defines a patriot for you, and why did you get into rap? And also, congratulations on taking the bar recently, and
oh, nice.
all the best for those endeavors as well.
Thank you. So, all right, we'll talk about the name. I used to rap under the pseudonym J Hots. Actually, my comes from when I was J Hots. I used to call myself Sir Hottest of J's. I made my Twitter handle Sir Hottest. I just took off the of J's, and then this is probably like fall 2018. I was working on a congressional campaign, and in the weeks leading up to the November election, I was thinking like I need like I guess a different display name on Twitter because it was just like J Hots or something. I was like, all right, let's go with Patriot J. And I came up with Patriot J because I was heavy into Mobb Deep at the time. And Prodigy, one half of Mobb Deep, he would sometimes call himself Bandana P. And I always liked the idea of kind of just getting your name down to like an initial. So I was thinking, okay, I'll be like something J. And I was trying to come up with what could like describe me in one word. And I said, oh, I'm a patriot. And to answer your question, what is a patriot? To me, a patriot is just someone who truly loves the country and wants what's best for the country.
Excellent. Now, one quick aside about Mobb Deep. What did you think of Tupac dissing them for sickle cell back in the Hit 'Em Up track?
Dude, so once I actually kind of found out who Mobb Deep was, and I had to go back and listen to Hit 'Em Up, and it's just so disrespectful, bro. But it's funny. I feel like the '90s hip hop era was like I don't want to sound like I guess an older head, like it's the golden era, but it was really a nice time. I don't know. It's just like there was competition. Of course, people died, but I mean, it was competitive. It was fierce. It was brash. It was in your face, and I feel like it's what today's hip hop is missing mostly.
Do you think today's hip hop is also missing the people dying? Like, do you think one cannot really exist without the
Well,
other?
They're still
no.
dying, dude. I feel like they're dropping like flies. You know, every 6 months, some up and coming rapper gets shot and killed, or like Juice World dies because he's overdosing on pills or something. I don't know. It's a very evil industry.
Well, pill overdosing is one thing, but as far as feeling like you are in a war zone, I assume that still happens. There was this recent incident with, let's see, Spot 'em Got 'em, who the only reason I found out about Spot 'em Got 'em is thanks to 4chan, him linking up with Pusha Ice-T, one of the most important things that have happened to the history of rap in a long while. And poor Spot 'em Got 'em ended up getting arrested for carrying, having a gun, or I don't know, something went down there, I don't know. But that seems to be the culture that we're in right now, where it does seem like with any kind of music, just like with pop music, it could be that I'm an old boomer. But like, other than your work, and I'd say other than, let's say, somebody like Kanye, when I look back, I see that we're standing on the shoulders of giants with any kind of music. But again, this
Yeah,
could be a
definitely.
biased take. But what do you think?
No, yeah, you said it. We are standing on the shoulders of giants, and it's important to kind of go back and do your history and pay homage to the people who blazed the trail, so you can kind of appreciate what it is today.
And what are some of your biggest inspirations?
All right, maybe like Tyler the Creator, definitely like huge inspiration. Prodigy, Serge Tankian from System of a Down.
Ooh.
Um, Andrew Breitbart, that's like non-musical, but I feel like he kind of He lit a fire in me. Kanye's up there. And then I'd say Eminem. I'm a really big Eminem fan. And I got into Eminem late. Like, I didn't really discover Eminem until, I guess, like 2013. Like, I knew who Eminem was, and I heard like the bigger singles, but I didn't go back and listen to Marshall Mathers LP until I was in high school.
Do you think that there was some kind of transformation with Eminem as well as other rap artists like Jay-Z, for example, shilling for Hell Dog back in the day of 2016, where there are, let's say, certain tribes of, and this is a good thing that Hotep Sophia came here right now, because I think she could also talk about this. Welcome, Hotep Sophia. Thank you so much for coming in.
Lev, certain tribes that control the music industry.
What's up?
What's up? So we're just talking on the subject of there being a split within the hip-hop community or the music community in general, when we're talking about there being certain rappers that would shill for the mainstream politicians and shill for certain organizations, as they may have been doing for a long time, where I'm curious how much of that is manufactured from like a long time ago. I think of, for example, the wife of Will Smith, or ex-wife now.
Jada Pinkett Smith?
Yeah, Jada Pinkett.
I think they're still together.
Really? Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
of course
didn't they
they're
divorce?
still together.
Oh, they're still together. Okay, fine,
Oh,
whatever.
okay.
Okay, so
Jada's his handler.
There we
I mean,
go.
oh, wait,
Well,
what
we're
can
gonna-
I actually say? What can I actually say? Because I don't want to get you guys in trouble. Because I'm on Gab, so it's uncensored. So I just need to double check that I don't say
Let's
too
see.
much.
No gamer words. No gamer words.
Okay.
Nothing about terroristic activity.
Okay,
So
got it.
that's
I
kind
love
of
Joe
I should have
Biden.
asked you that before.
We're in the clear
I
now.
love Joe Biden. He's the greatest.
We're in the clear.
Smartest man I've ever met.
81 million votes. He's so popular.
But I don't know. I don't know if this is the. I don't know if this is exactly the right.
Just say erection.
Yes,
Okay.
or
There
if
you
you're
go.
talking about the Backstreet Boys World Tour, that's what you're gonna call it, the Backstreet Boys World Tour. The
For
world
the-
tour that the entire
No.
world was under, the Backstreet Boys World Tour, and we are still part of the Backstreet Boys World Tour, if you catch my drift. Anyway, I don't know
Live
if this
from
is
China.
Yes, live from China,
Gotcha.
exactly. I don't know if this is the right area to begin with, but I
Got it.
was interested in looking at this documentary by Gio. You knew who I'm talking about, the British guy who did that long documentary talking about Mao's wife, talking about, you know who I'm talking about, right, Gio?
Adam Curtis.
Adam Curtis, exactly. So Adam Curtis's documentary talks about Afeni Shakur, who was Tupac's mother, being involved in the Black Panthers, and then there were like some informants there. So maybe that's a good place to start. I don't know. You
Oh,
tell
man.
me as far as like what
That's
exactly has
opening
been
up a can
going
of
on.
worms, Lev.
I mean, I think that what we're finding out now, because I've been in the industry a long time. So like I used to do a radio show out of Orlando, and I just spoke to my show host like the other day, and he was like, oh my gosh, did you know Freaky Ziggy was an informant? We had done like a long interview with him, like 30 or 45 minutes or something like that. I don't know, like 10 years ago almost now. And he was really shocked that this man was talking to the feds. He was shocked. And I was like, I'm not shocked by any of this stuff anymore, because you can't unsee it once you've seen it, how things go in the industry and the symbolism, and it's just become more apparent as time has gone on. But I mean, this stuff has been going on in the Black community for a long time. I mean, I always talk about Frederick Douglass because it's something with his story that doesn't add up, right alongside with Harriet Tubman and the rest of them.
Don't tell me Frederick's story's fake.
Okay, listen. Oh, you've never heard this. Okay, so listen to this. Let me tell you about Frederick.
No, what did you do?
Come on,
What
come
did
on.
you do,
Talk to
Jada?
me.
So Frederick Douglass, like if you listen to, first of all, he was born in Tyaskin, which I'm from Maryland. So my dad is from Salisbury. So I'm familiar with that area. And the woman he apparently married was like from not Dorchester, but somewhere not too far. And I was like, okay, so how did he even get to her? Because the Southern Maryland is far apart. It's not like, you're from, separate cities or whatever.
Right.
Then, okay, he goes to live with these people in Baltimore. Racist Baltimore, the racist place on earth. Somehow the white boys taught him how to read. Does that even make sense? Why would they do that? Then
Well, that
the
kinda
wife
is
is
suspicious.
begging for
Okay.
the husband not to get rid of the slave. That sounds like he was probably sleeping with her or something. Why would she be begging not to give him away? Like, this makes no sense. So then he goes on the run. How does he get to England? Nobody can tell me this. Who paid for him? Like,
I didn't even know he went to England, really.
Yeah, he went to England. He was able to pay off his debt, like, to his master, from the people in England giving him money so that he could pay off his debt, because he went around speaking to the different churches or whatever. So then he comes back to America. He's paid off his debt. He's got this ugly ass wife. He doesn't love her. You know, she dies mysteriously. Then he marries basically a white woman. I mean, this is what else? What do you want me to tell you? Like, I'm not even. I just can't. He was in the churches. He was a pastor. He was, you know, who knows what he was doing with all the constituents there. You got all the stories, the MLK story, whatever. It's like they just use the same stories over and over. So once I started looking at, because I asked my dad is from Salisbury. I was like, Dad, how does this sound? He was like, well, you know, people just do what they got to do. And I'm like, Dad, that doesn't sound
I
right
shudder to ask Hotep Sophia about Du Bois, sorry.
Oh my, please don't.
W.W. Du Bois.
Didn't he like Stalin or something?
Well, but before
he was a socialist.
But before that, I just want to get a Patriot J's response to what Hotep Sophia just said right now. So Patriot J, what do you think?
I mean, that sounds crazy, but it doesn't really add up what she just told me, and I feel like I need to go do the research for myself, because like I feel like a lot of our stories that we've been passed down from generation to generation are manufactured. Like, I didn't realize, I guess, like a big portion of like the civil rights movement was like, it was backed by white people. It was kind of staged, like the Rosa Parks incident. There was a girl before her, and I feel like
four.
See, like these hidden truths definitely need to come to light.
Well, I wanted to ask Patriot J, specifically about the development of hip hop. Now, I'm not a huge listener, although I do appreciate a lot of the old school stuff. I'm a big L fan. When it comes to the development of hip hop, there are certain people who, let's say, for lack of a better word, are more woke on this topic. There's people like KRS-One. You mentioned Prodigy. Who else am I thinking of? Oh, yes. Now I know. There was this interview with Immortal Techniques. I believe it was with Alex Jones, where he was reiterating what certain rappers like Chuck D was saying back in the 80s and 90s, that the hip hop industry, and it really is an industry, that rap and hip hop, they were sort of controlled by nefarious forces, and they were pushing a certain image of blackness in America that was sort of subservient to the narrative. Now, as someone who is in the industry, what do you think of people like KRS-One and Immortal Techniques who are willing to entertain more of this thinking? Like, for example, when a lot of the stuff that I like in that genre is like, you know, maybe it's embarrassing to admit, but like, you know, Ill Bill, Necro, stuff, like a lot of horrorcore stuff, but they talk about conspiracy and things of this nature. So from your perspective, do you think that hip hop is being controlled by certain nefarious forces that hand them? This is what Immortal Techniques said. They literally hand you a pamphlet of the stuff that you have to talk about.
I definitely would believe that, given like the trajectory of rap over the past 40 some odd years. It started off as a positive thing. It was a creative expression for angsty minority youth. People were able to make a living, you know, and then once I guess the record labels kind of got more control over the industry, like you were saying, I feel like around the 90s, there was kind of that switch to push the gangster image. And that's what we saw with the beefs and the shootings and the killings. And even now, I feel like it's even more destructive, and it's not necessarily gang violence. So focus on like external destruction, but I feel like it's more internal. Like I think a lot of the music programming today, it's like sad and depressed. They want you kind of drugged up, sedated, not thinking for yourself. And I feel like the control is kind of evidenced by the fact that a lot of subject matter in contemporary rap music is the same. You've got people, there are like so many songs dedicated to Molly. There are so many songs dedicated to like Percocet,
Lean.
Xanax, pushing these pills, you know.
Lil
that-
Xan, right? That's
yeah, see, exactly. That just furthers the it boosts big pharma, you know, it serves that agenda. There's so many songs about like drill rap is like that Chicago era stuff from like early 2010s is just so violent, and it's all about like shooting your neighbor, shooting somebody who looks like you because they live on a different street than you. And when you kind of force feed these narratives into music, it's only going to perpetuate the same type of conditions, because people like listening to music, and if it's popular, they're going to say, hey, I can get on by rapping about killing my friend, let me just do that, and not kind of think about it.
Well, how much is it supply and demand? Basically, like, how much is it, maybe, to play devil's advocate, that people are getting into, you know, a lot of these illicit drugs, you know, they like to have sex, they like to do all this stuff, so of course there's going to be more of a demand for this kind of music versus it intentionally being created.
Manufactured.
Yeah, that's a good point, but I feel like, honestly, the demand is almost in a sense manufactured, because I guess the higher ups are kind of pushing this narrative so hard. It's almost like the people who are consuming it haven't really thought to kind of expand and think like, well, what else could I listen to? Or is this the most positive thing that I should be programming myself with? So it's kind of like, I don't know, like people do engage in these behaviors, and of course people are going to talk about it, but I feel like a certain portion of it is at the hands of the higher ups by like force feeding mainstream artists to kind of promote these things.
Yeah, I was just going to add on that is there, because the urban experience has always been for sale. Like that's pretty much, you know, a hot commodity. And so, you know, if I talk to my old man, like he's going to tell me, oh, I can identify with these people, so on and so forth. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like, yeah, the streets this, the streets that. And people who come from the streets, they can identify with that kind of music. So if it wasn't grounded in some sort of reality for somebody, then it wouldn't have any appeal. But on top of that, you do have a lot of people who know nothing of the streets and who listen to the music, don't know anything that's being said, don't know what's being talked about. And they go on to believe that these are the type of behaviors that are acceptable to engage in. And when you have, you know, young people, you know, singing WAP, you know, like that's a huge problem. Like these girls don't, I mean, y'all were talking about males, but on the female side, it's even worse. I mean, there's a long fall from like the Queen Latifah, you know, early 90s type of, you know, females just getting involved in
living single. Do you remember Living Single?
Yeah, Living Single, of course. That was like mandatory watching in the Black community. But I mean, it wasn't anything else to watch it. I mean, because like you were only going to see, if you watched, you know, what was the Friday night
TGIF
lineup.
Oh, no.
Yeah, TGIF. Yes, exactly.
Wait,
and you saw
or UPN. UPN was a big network for.
Oh, UPN. Oh my God.
I always say UPN stands for unpaid.
Oh, out of the park.
But and another thing is the music ties right into the TV industry, because this is no joke. I don't watch TV, so I was in a hotel when I went back up the road, and I was like, okay, let's see what's on. And Tyler Perry has a show coming out that's exactly like Girlfriends. Girlfriends is from the 1990s or early 2000s, obviously. And then he has a show called Sisters. I was like, this. I cannot believe this. So I had not realized that even in the Black community, even our shows are being washed and rewatched. I was shocked. I said, this is nuts. Like, who would watch this, you know, type of stuff? Like,
now there's a strange thing going on with Tyler Perry, and I wanted to redirect it to Tupac as well, where Tyler Perry came from a theater arts background, and Medea is actually from Greek mythology. So Medea is the daughter of King Attis of Colchis, a niece of Circe and the granddaughter of the sun god Helios. Medea figures in the myth of Jason and the Argonauts, appearing in Hesiod's Theogony around 700 BC. blah, blah, blah. So anyway, she aids Jason in his search for the Golden Fleece out of love, assisting him with her magic and saving his life in several quests, playing the role of an archetypical helper maiden before abandoning her native Colchis, marrying him and fleeing with him westwards, where they eventually settle in Corinth. Anyway, the reason why I say that is I saw an old interview of a 17-year-old or like a teenage Tupac Shakur who was doing ballet. And he was going to this theater school.
Thug life, am I right?
Yeah, well, he was going to this school around Baltimore, Maryland, and this is the same school that Will Smith's wife went to as well. So they were in the same class. So I'm curious, when it comes to this theatrical background, you know, people who are into theater are usually people within more elite circles. Was there anything that you could say was planned ahead of time to put certain people into certain positions to influence things a certain way?
Well, of course. I mean, if you look at a lot of these people have come through DC, and that's no surprise, because the type of corruption that comes from DC, it draws a lot of people in. And DC does have a lot of money invested in the arts, and there's a lot of opportunity in those arenas because of all the abuse that can occur when you have kids, you know, at school for 8, 9, 10 hours a day and in all these programs, and then they have to travel and whatnot. So there's a lot of abuse that can occur. So these things are not surprising. You have like Martin Lawrence, like, I mean, because where I'm from, a lot of these people came through Fort Washington and whatever. So I was like, okay, like, you know, I really grew up knowing that the industry was entirely not what they said it was out to be, because there was just no way that you have these people coming through Fort Washington. And again, I always say PG County is the richest Black county in the country. The average income in my hometown is $198,000. It was 5 years ago. So it's probably over $200,000 now. And the majority of Black people work for the government. So these people make money. They make a lot of money, and they spend their money on their kids getting into sports and athletics and arts and all this trash. Like, this is commonplace. So you know, when you see stuff like this over and over again, you got, you know, it's just, you can't deny that it was all planned. And back to the Tyler Perry thing specifically, I think he was actually co-opted, because of if his story that I've heard from a bunch of different sources is correct, he really started with nothing, you know, because I was watching the bootleg DVDs on bus trips back and forth with the choir. So I saw the early DVDs, like the shows when they were traveling, they were having sold out shows because it was actually funny. It was something that was humorous and our community could relate to. So I think he was sort of co-opted on his way up, but I don't think that he necessarily started out playing, as a lot of people do start out playing.
Very interesting. Now, when it comes to Patriot J, your journey into the rap world, do you notice, like I said in the very beginning, that there is some kind of rift between, let's say, more of the, I guess, America first rappers versus those who, I don't know, I'm not sure if the impression is that anybody who is like waving the American flag pro-America to a different group of people within the rap community would be seen as somehow, you know, Uncle Tom or something like that. Like, I don't know, you tell me, because this is what I keep hearing on CNN when they were talking about Kanye back in the day. They were calling him all kinds of names. So what do you personally see going on right now?
Personally, I don't know. When I like do music, really, I just do it with myself and like a couple close friends who kind of align with me. I tend to stay away from like the nonsense of the other side, because it's really nonsense. And a lot of these people don't think. Like, I've gotten hate from like other rappers, and it's cool if you want to like say my bars are weak or whatever, like I'll take that. But if you like, people just don't like the music because of the message. And it's like, okay, well, you can't even have an intelligent conversation with me about the message in the music because you don't know what you're talking about. These people are just uneducated, and that's the biggest problem.
Well, is it a matter? Yeah, go on.
Oh, sorry.
No, go for it.
No, I was going to ask, like, do you think the actual artistry of mainstream hip hop has changed? I mean, like, when you look at the old school Like you look at Cool G Rap or like I said, Big L, like, yeah, the stuff was like, oh, terribly brutal, right? Beyond belief. But the lyricism was next level. You can't compare. Do you think that the actual craft of hip hop and rap, like the actual artistry of it, has become something different? Like, is there still like a lot of innovation, or do you think that's sort of stagnated, especially when it comes to lyricism?
I'd say that it is definitely different from the heyday, but I don't think it's a bad thing. I think hip hop as an art form is always evolving. So like, I guess trap is the most popular sound today, but even within that, there are like so many different styles of trap. People are always innovating. They're coming up with different flows. It might not be super duper lyrical, miracle, spiritual type stuff, but you know, it's there and it serves a purpose. It's really just all about expressing yourself. And I think that it's a good thing that it's kind of changed, because if we were listening to boom bap rap for, I don't know, 30 years, I would be like, dang, like, is this all the genre has to offer?
Wait, what's boom bap rap?
Boom bap is like
Boom
the
bap.
80s,
Boom
90s type stuff, you know,
bap.
just
Yeah.
Boom
simple
bap.
kick pattern, like one sample in the background, super lyrical stuff. But I don't know, I like the new stuff. I feel like for me, it took me a while to come around to like the next generation. But what was the switch for me? I had to just kind of stop judging the music and just start listening to it, you know, start listening to it for what it is. Like, I'm not going to listen to Kodak Black for the most in-depth lyrical analysis about like geopolitics. And there are still people who do that. So it's all about kind of picking and choosing.
What do you think of Drake?
I love Drake. I'm a
Oh man, here we go.
Did you ask him?
I knew it. I knew I was gonna make something happen here. All right.
I used to watch Degrassi when I was a young kid.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, and then so I found out about Drake in like 2009 from a podcast he did. He like plugged his MySpace. I checked it out, and he had a song with Lil Wayne, and I was like, "What? This is cool." So I've been rocking with Drake for a minute. Like, I think he's a really good pop artist. I don't know if I would say like he's pure hip hop. He makes some really good music though.
Hotep Sophia, what is your opinion on Drake?
I'm trying. Okay, so I was out of college when Drake came out. So the heyday, in my opinion, the heyday of like hip hop was like the 2000s through 2009, because when Drake came out, that was the death of hip hop. Like, you could not, like, literally, it was. It was over, because you just had. I mean, if you compare like anybody, like even like old T.I. to like Drake, you had like people talking about. I mean, they were talking about drugs and guns and all that stuff. Okay, content was a problem, but they weren't crying over women. I think that when you move into the era of crying over women, there's this everything post Drake is like you're crying over strippers, like strippers.
Oh.
I couldn't wrap my mind around it. Like I was out in the nightlife doing all kinds of stuff. I couldn't imagine crying over a stripper. These girls can't put two and two together, some of them, and these are who you're crying over. Meanwhile, you have people like, not necessarily me, but like other smart people I know, not like AKAs or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, these men are so terrible." I'm like, "Yeah, because they're crying over strippers. Like you're not even on the agenda. You know what I mean? You can't get a place." So I just feel like, you know, the masculinity in rap. What really like I like about rap is the masculinity that comes through, or the femininity that comes through with women, like an old school Eve or whatever. Like you have the masculinity and the femininity, and then in 2009, it was like that was all out the door. There was no more, you know, and I haven't recovered. I go to this class every 3 times a week. It's called Trap Step. And I have no idea what music these people are playing. I'm like, what is this? The stepping is hard enough because it's like on the step board. So people like it, but I'm like, can we play some Beach Boys, like, or some go-go, or like, because all I listen to is 60s music and like go-go, and that's it. Because it's the music today, in my head, I'm like, I can't even understand.
So Lil Nas X would be where for you, Sophia?
Look, so
He
I
is
feel
an
like,
informant, okay? Like, oh, Lil Nas X. No, I thought you were talking about the other one with the rainbow color hair. No, the problem with Lil Nas X is like way more than I think that for him specifically, they used him because he was in the military, and I think that has something to do with it. Like they like turned him into like this superstar with this nice family-friendly song, and then all of a sudden they turned the script because my friend showed me the video or something he came out with like last week or something like that, and I was like, "Is he in jail?
Glowing activity.
What is going on?" I mean, like I tell you, I don't listen to this stuff. I don't watch nothing in media. I have no idea what normal people talk about, but to see that and to know that's on TV screen where I have a 13-year-old, you know, she could like turn this on and this could be what she's watching. I know she's not. She likes K-pop. So praise be to God on that. But I'm like, this stuff is insane.
Frying
Not
pan
that
into the
K-pop
fire
is much
right there.
better, but like, I mean, I know it's a mess.
Okay,
Patriot J, are you Lil Nas pilled? What is your position?
I don't even want to talk about Lil Nas X because I want you guys to keep your YouTube channel.
Okay. Say no more. Say no more.
Actually, okay, to cleanse the palate over here, I just want to show a couple of screenshots from Now That We Found Love by Heavy D and the Boys.
Oh,
nice.
So what I love about
that is classic 90s.
Like, look at all this. I mean, the colors are very bright, but there's something appealing just about the style here. You know, it's like all shiny and, you know, strange looking, and especially there's this one dude here who's wearing a transparent jacket. This guy right over here, he's my favorite. Look at this.
That was
like a Lil Nas X music video right there.
Yeah, there you go.
Facts.
I think what was really good about that era of hip hop was that everybody sounded different. Nowadays, people just sound like a carbon copy of whatever's going to get them put on. And I think that's the most depressing part about it all.
I wanted to run this by you, Patriot J, and Hotep Sophia. Now, I have this friend who is also a YouTuber. His name is Pill Eater. And he came out with this controversial video where he claimed that in the world of hip hop, basically the newer generation of more like Zoomer, like SoundCloud rappers, they basically had to find a way to market hip hop to like middle class depressed white kids. So they took like emo, like not the real emo from the Midwest. They took like the fucking My Chemical Romance
pop
shit.
Punk, like early 2000s.
Yeah, they took that and they took like SoundCloud hip hop and they took a little bit of the more instrumental and more electronica orientated sounds of people like Jay Dilla, Nujabes, you know, and they made like who's that one really big one, Lev? The one oh god, like, you know, like Lil Peep. Yeah, they had to make like emo rap to appeal to like suburban white kids. Do you think that that's what's going on? Oh, Young Lean. Sorry, I'm thinking of Young Lean. Like that's yeah, like that aesthetic, you know, that's very like 90s, like vaporwave nostalgia. Like, do you think like what do you think of that sort of trend of like emo rap and SoundCloud rap and stuff like that? Do you think it's just like hipster white kids or what?
Nah, I feel like it's it was cool to see. Like, it was a nice evolution because I feel like I low-key grew up on like My Chemical Romance and Green Day, like 2004, 2005, kind of like before I got into rap music. That's what I was into because I think it was like popular and I was young and I really enjoyed it. So I feel like it's almost a natural progression as like my generation grows up to kind of go back to the sounds of our childhood.
How old are you?
Figure out, I'm 24. So in
shit. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, you're younger than me, man.
Listening to Green Day, I was probably like 8 or 9. So I feel like it's like the natural evolution because hip hop at its core is kind of always about sampling things and kind of putting a new spin on it. So I feel like that's pretty, like emo rap is like pretty hip hop because, you know, they sampled it and they kind of flipped it and made it to its own sound and it kind of took off. I feel like some of the stuff kind of got like watered down, like there were too many clones because people saw that they could get on doing that type of stuff. But I think it was a good thing. The one thing I don't like about emo rap music is how just emo it is. You know, I feel like
Yeah.
if you listen to depressing music 24/7, you're gonna be depressed. It's bound to happen.
What's Juice World is another one. Is he good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Juice World's definitely like emo rap, but he I feel like he did a good job at kind of diversifying his sound. So he would have his like emo songs, and then he was a really good rapper. He would have his songs where he could just bar out, and that's why I liked him, because I feel like he could do it both.
Nice. Yeah,
The time when emo rap sort of got popular is the time that I was working with artists, and so it was very interesting trying to get the artists to understand that they needed to diversify their sounds, especially like I work with like a lot of Southern artists. So like the whole Southern thing was still really huge. They couldn't understand the whole concept of diversifying their sound and trying to, you know, be able to appeal to a wider base. And I think that it's always easier for people to do it who lived it. But if, like, for example, in DC, we listen to go-go. So, like, if you grew up listening to go-go mostly, that you just couldn't wrap your mind around that type of thing. And that's one of the problems with go-go, is that it's been unable to evolve, you know, to appeal, to cover enough songs that more people can understand. Because once people hear it, they like it, but they're just like, I can't identify with this because it's not really covering the type of music that I grew up with or I'm familiar with. So that's sort of like an ongoing problem, I think, just in general with artists, is being able to, you know, listen to other music. I think once you get into the industry really heavily, you kind of get stuck because they tell you who to listen to, or if you're listening to the radio, you're listening to all the same, you know, stuff that everyone else is listening to. So of course you're going to sound like that, because you're not going outside the box and listen to, like I saw somebody mention classical music. You know what I mean? People aren't listening to that. So that's why I listen to all 60s music. So like, and 60s is probably one of the most diverse eras of music there is anyway. And so all the time there's just different stuff to be, you know, to interpret, to understand, for me to go back and ask questions and do research and try to figure out what was actually going. Oh, who said UCB? I'm sorry.
Wait,
somebody in the chat, go, TCB and UCB. Yes, TOB is like my favorite, but TCB, UCB are definitely top-notch bands. But
Green Wizard also mentioned Oliver Tree for $1.99 super chat. I'm not too familiar with Oliver Tree.
Oliver Tree is pretty fire.
I'll have to check that out. As far as a question that also Philip Daniel, the great Philip Daniel, great classical musician, asked you, Patriot J, what non-rap hip-hop music did you get inspired by early on? Like, what were some of the things that you like?
Well, you mentioned Serge Tankian, so that's...
Yeah, so I guess, like, yeah, I grew up on, like, probably around, like, 7 to 10, My Chemical Romance, Green Day, and System of a Down. That was probably, like, my top 3. And I feel like, looking back, like, System of a Down definitely radicalized me, because I feel like their music is, like, so political, but I wasn't into it at the time. Like, I just liked the way it sounded. But going back, I'm like, dang, they were kind of dropping gems. I don't know if that was, like, in my subconscious now that I'm older, but so those 3. Outside of that, like, I love 80s pop music, like Hall and Oates type stuff. That's what really gets me going. I like Pat Benatar.
Oh man.
Hell is for Children. That's it's quite a jam right there.
Yep. What else is there? When I study, I listen to, like, classical music. I couldn't name, like, any classical musicians, but I always throw on, like, a classical study playlist. Listen to a lot of, like, lo-fi beats to study to, because when I was studying for the bar, I was studying like 8 hours a day. I would have, like, the same rotation of, like, lo-fi mixes. Like, there was a Kingdom Hearts mix, there was like a Yu-Gi-Oh mix, a Dragon Ball Z mix.
Nice. Wait, do you like Utada Hikaru?
Yeah, she's cool. I just like her 2 songs from the Kingdom Hearts franchise. I haven't listened to her outside of that, but
I'll send you some of her other stuff. Like she became incredibly popular in Japan. In fact, her album First Love is still considered to be the #1 selling album of all Japanese history.
damn. Okay, I definitely got to check that out because she has a nice voice.
Her
And
mom was also a musician, but her mom ended up falling off of the window because she had a lot of mental problems. So, just one of these things. But it's like there are some people out there who, like all the rock stars back in the day, like think of how many rock stars perish, at a very young age, like 27. That's supposed to be like the cursed age. Well, Hotep Sophia, you're making some eyes as if it's not just.
I mean,
I love
like I mean, not to get into that, but that's another thing I think that artists who know what the industry is like, they think about, because if you start out really young, like 18, then you're you just have to look at that. Like there's an artist out there that I like, Flo Milli. I listened to her album. I never heard of her. I just was like, okay.
You a city girl, Sophia?
I am not. No, I wish I could be part of those things, but I'm way too old. But yeah, I listened to Flo Milli's album and I was like, wow, this is not about what everyone else is talking about. So I worry for her because, there's not, artists aren't allowed to come out and be different. That's another thing. Yeah. Like as soon as
didn't even Prodigy get canceled or whatever for saying some stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. What will happen with that?
I can't remember what Prodigy's exact problem was, but I'm sure it was going against what he was told to do. Because a lot of people, they get because I was like on the A&R side. So like a lot of times you will get word from your A&R what it is that you have to do, like where you have to go, what, things you need to be saying, what you need to be promoting, whatever the case may be. Like that's sort of like the A&R is like the go-between between the label and the artist. And so when A&R comes and tells you you have to do this, you kind of have to do it. If you just say, oh no, I'm not going to do it, then you have a huge problem on your hand, because I mean, they're the ones who controls whether your album comes out now or if you get the Lil Wayne treatment, your album comes out in 10 years, like extending your contract out forever, but I mean, that was for a variety of reasons, but this is what happens. Like you have to do, whoever comes and tells you whatever, you have to do whatever they say. And also my sister is in the chat. That's Lavon. So shout out to her. Actually, this is probably her first time watching live. So shout out to her.
Let's go.
But what was the specific Sod album that did it for you? I remember I'm old enough to remember when Toxicity came out, and then was it Hypnotized that came first before Mesmerized?
It was wasn't it Toxicity and then Steal This Album and then Mesmerized and then
yeah, because when they came out with that single BYOB, that was like, you even had like quote unquote normies that didn't know anything about the metal world, like listening to it. I'm like, oh damn. But no, that was a cultural moment. I think like what's weird about System of a Down is that to me, it's their politics are just radical enough to have mainstream acceptance, but it's outside of the normal like dialectic of American politics.
Right.
So like a lot of diverse people can get involved, like can really stand their message. Like they don't, I mean, whatever is happening between them now, of course, I think maybe Serge wants to move on, unfortunately. But it seems like it's almost like in metal, you could say that, for example, bands like Sepultura, because they had an experience that was outside of the American political system, that their message was sufficiently radical, but also external to like Democrat Republican BS, right? So I wonder, like, as hip hop becomes, it's now global, and now it is sort of like the pop music of choice.
Yeah.
It's really weird to see how different cultures have essentially adopted like American music, but it's like, you know what I mean? Like it's really weird how the globalization of arts and culture has manifested itself. Cause like there's people that listen to hip hop like worldwide, But and some people
Oh,
say
the French hip hop is
yeah.
hard. The French hip hop is really, really tough. Like, I don't know what they're saying, but it's really tough. Like, it's good.
I've heard like Italian drill music that goes hard.
Oh, maybe because it's like really the music of what was that one academic he wrote, More Brilliant Than the Sun, this book about electronic and hip hop. You said because it's like the music of subaltern people that it could have like global appeal, but still like, even though it's may sound the same, it's like every culture has a different take on it. And I wonder though, it's yeah.
Well, this is this reminds me of something that this theosophist named Rudolf Steiner brought up. And I know, Hotep Sophia, you're very interested when it comes to
Love
theosophy.
Steiner.
Well, Steiner was not a big fan of jazz, apparently, because he said...
Oh, like Adorno.
Well, he said that jazz is basically very similar in terms of the improvisation and the beats and all that to ceremonial music that would have been played in various parts of Africa for religious purposes. And according to Steiner, when you take the religion away from the music, it almost like leaves a gap open for other influences to start creeping into the public. Now, it's a very fuddy-duddy way, though, of saying, like, oh, I don't like jazz, but at the same time, if I think about music, vibration in general, like you can do the you can do the Om sound, and that's supposed to lift up the Kundalini. Like there's all kinds of things you can do with vibration to get to a higher state of existence. So what role do you personally see music playing in your life when it comes to, if you have ever gotten interested in anything related to any of this hippy-dippy stuff? If not, then feel free to ignore this, but I am curious.
I mean, I think that it goes hand. I think that's exact. Of course, I think Steiner's right. I mean, that's why, like, some of the, like in the early '90s, you had R&B album. The last track was a gospel track. Almost everybody's album. You listen to Drew Hill or Mariah Carey or whatever, they have a gospel track at the end, so that you knew from where the person was coming when they actually produced their music. And when you sort of got out of that, just, having God as the center of your life, and people just even throwing it into music randomly, like Urban Legend by T.I., like there's a lot of references to God in there, not like in a bad way, but like just like, I'm going to treat fighting because God and this and that, whatever. So I think that that's true. And I think that's a huge problem in the industry. I mean, it's like the souls of Black folk was just basically, the soul part was taken out, so that it didn't matter where the soul actually was, or where the soul was going, or what part the soul played. It's just, how much money can we make off of this track, or, and except for people like Patriot J, of course, I'm always like playing the album frequently. I love it. And I wish we could get a clean version. That's a personal request, because my daughter likes my 5-year-old, she's like, I want to listen to that. I'm like, no, you can't listen to it because I don't want you to sing all those
I've
words.
talked to my engineer about that.
And do you have some gospel tracks, Patriot J?
No, I don't. I wouldn't classify any song that I've made yet as gospel. One time, there's this gospel song called "Reckless Love." I wanted to cover that, but I never put it out.
Well, just to be clear, by the way, what theosophy means, the official definition of theosophy is any number of philosophies maintaining that a knowledge of God may be achieved through spiritual ecstasy, direct intuition, or special individual relations, especially in the movement founded in 1875 as the Theosophical Society by Helena Blavatsky and Henry Steele Olcott. So this is
keep in mind, some people believe that this is what the globalists believe in too. So that's like the European mystery schools.
Sure.
The
but
Bohemian
it's
Grove.
But it's like more of a question of, do people ignore the tools at hand to change and rely upon external sources as opposed to internal ones to grow? or not? You know, that's the big question for me. Like, where
Well,
exactly
Lev,
you
they
stand.
do DMT and they contact entities out in the Bohemian Grove, Lev. That's
Well, speaking of DMT, Patriot J, have you ever done any psychedelics of any
Oh
sort?
no, don't ask him that. No.
I don't know. I thought this was a safe question. I don't know. You tell me.
I don't know if I'm at liberty to answer that question.
Okay, that's fine. I don't
Yeah,
want
it's
to pressure you.
OPSEC reasons, Lev.
Yes. Although I'm honestly,
I don't know.
honestly, I'm surprised today. I really thought that today we're living at an age where a lot of this stuff has become a lot more accepted. But
No, it's so
I'll let you
accepted
know,
that it's cringe.
I think
Good.
marijuana, psychoactive.
Sure.
Smoke a little weed.
There you go.
Yeah, there we are.
Yeah,
Honestly,
weed,
though, I'm not a big fan of psychedelics in general, just because I believe it's like taking a shortcut to spiritual enlightenment. You know, it's like relying on a crutch in order to get to certain high levels. And
I think
yeah,
I think people who kind of take it for that reason too, they never really want to do the hard work. They don't want to actually reflect. They just like kind of use that as an excuse. They're like, oh, I'm gonna take these psychedelics because it'll help me think about myself. I'll confront my demons. And they're just sitting there high off their ass staring at a tree for 5 hours. Like,
are these people who also like don't have inner monologue? Because I feel like maybe
A lot of them don't. That's
yeah,
true.
they're more
do people
susceptible to
seriously
this
not
type-
have an inner monologue?
No, there are people who don't have an inner monologue. It's
No,
a
can't
real
even-
thing.
Just
You ever
vibe?
try to take an apple like in your mind's eye and rotate it? You ever do that? It's like
No,
this.
but I'm doing that right now.
It's like this test. There are people that literally can't envision an apple and spin it around its like horizon, and they don't have an inner monologue. It's really
well,
Yeah.
well, Gio, when you were mentioning the apple just now, I was thinking of a worm coming out of the apple, and then I recalled the dream that I had last night, which I wanted to tell a Patriot J off screen, but I decided to save it for now. You've read this dream, right, Gio? No?
Which one is it?
Okay, here it is. So, dream last night. I was at a Chinese restaurant which specializes in medicinal poisons. So they would give you all kinds of different poisons.
Like
to try.
homeopathy.
Yes, and there was a table of people that were eating this fluffy-looking bread, and it was infused with this green goo, kind of like slime. I know, Hotep Sophia, if your daughter's like the slime, like I know slimes become popular.
Yeah, slime is a huge thing, and it's
Is
so
that still a
annoying because
thing?
yes, it gets stuck to everything.
There
So
we
no
go.
slime in my
No.
house.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
How about you, Patriot J? Are you a fan of slime? Like there was.
I wanted like my own gallon of Nickelodeon slime for the longest time when I was growing up.
Oh, like
Yeah.
Goose. Do you remember Goose?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was the best.
See, Zoomers are just LARPing millennials. That's...
Yes. Well, anyway,
Yeah.
to get to the end of the dream, so there was this table of people, and in fact, now that Andrew Meyer is here with the intense winds going on, with the there we go, Andrew Meyer, welcome, my friend.
What's up, bro?
Patriot J, do you have something to say?
I sure do.
Oh yeah. Now, Andrew, there is a bit of a wind going on in the background, so I'm gonna mute temporarily right now while I talk about the dream. And it's good that you're here, because maybe you have a Kabbalistic interpretation of it. So, anyway, I had a dream that I was at a Chinese restaurant which specialized in medicinal poisons. There was a table of people eating bread infused with a green goo, and out of this bread came all these giant maggots. Like the maggots were about like the size of my fingers over here, and
Pulse of the maggots.
yes, and I was waiting in line to get to this particular table, and there was a short, disfigured man, kind of like he looked like he was a burn victim, and he also looked a bit like Bagel Boss. Do you guys remember Bagel Boss? He was the he was that very short-looking guy, the manlet guy who was in this Long Island diner, who got really, really upset because women were smirking.
Oh, that guy! Yeah, the Bagel Boy. Yeah.
So here he is. For those who don't know what I'm talking about. So imagine this guy waiting in line with me in the
He was your
dream.
spirit guide.
And I mean, it didn't look exactly like him. It looked like him, but he had like a flatter face, and he looked like he was burned, and he looked like all mangled up.
He was like the midget from the Holy Mountain that you had to give up.
Kind of like that, yeah. So then the only thing that I did is I said hi to him. And he got so angry, like he just started charging at me. He wanted to punch me. And so I put my hands like this, just because I did not want to hurt him. You know, like I said, like, I don't want to fight with you. Why are you fighting with me? All I did was say hi to you. And that was kind of around the time that the dream ended. So I don't know, Patriot J, Sophia, Gio, and Andrew.
Oh my God.
What do you guys make of this?
All right. First of all, if you have to know that the power to interpret dreams is going to change the manifestation. So if you let people interpret your dreams, it changes the manifestation of it. So let me go first, and I'll give you something positive.
All right.
All right. Your dream means that you're going to be extremely wealthy. You're going to be abundant. Everyone on this stream is going to be wealthy and abundant, have lots of healing in their lives. And for you personally, I'm going to take the guy being upset with you. It means you need to study real Kabbalah, not the Kabbalah with a Q. You need to actually get into the real thing.
Not the Nick Land Kabbalah.
You need to start reading Rav Berg, Mr. Lev.
Well, I definitely appreciate that, and I'm going to take a look. Only thing I know is that Madonna made a lot of people wait a very long time to see her, according to my friend Kimberly, who went to her concert, and she was really upset at that. So if I were in Madonna's place, I'd be like, I need to be the giving light. I don't want to let all this, all my audiences down. I'm gonna try to make it on time. So that's the only thing that I'd say right there. But nobody's perfect. I know. Patriot.
Why does it always come down to Madonna? I'm like a living legend over here. I'm the realest man in the planet. And you never say, you know what? Andrew Meyer studies this Kabbalah, so I must need to study it. It always comes down to Madonna. I don't get it.
I'd look at Madonna as being the canary in the coal mine, somebody who's exposed to very big levels of fame.
She's a creation
of
the glow in the darks.
So it's like
she literally glows. Her skin is
if Kabbalah would work for her, then I'd see that there is something to the Rav Berg system. So far, she's not really doing that good of a job.
You guys remember when Madonna made out with Drake?
Oh my God, that was so disgusting.
Wait,
she made out with who?
But you're gonna say she's like having a bad time? It's crazy.
I would say that somebody who has so much temptation in their life from having all this money, that would be the perfect specimen on whom to try out advanced Kabbalistic techniques to see if they can convert their energy of receiving into the energy of giving.
I would say you would have to see what her life was like without it, which we can't. There's no control for that. But what I can tell you is she's given millions of dollars to basically share the Zohar around the world. So I don't know how you can get upset with that. Literally the Holy Grail.
This isn't a good endorsement of the real Kabbalah. This is terrible.
Hotep Sophia, what do you think? And also, Patriot J, have you ever been interested in Kabbalah and any of the spiritual practices, or is this more foreign to you? And do you come from a religious background, by the way, as far as your family and all that goes?
Yeah, I grew up in a Christian household. I want to say like around high school, I kind of did my deep dive into like spirituality, like kind of the new age stuff, because that was like, I guess, mainstream. I do need to do my deep dive into like every religion out there, but I've been super busy these last 3 years reading case law. There's just like no time.
And
what type of law are you going into?
I am intending to do criminal defense.
Oh wow.
It's funny because I went into law school with the intention of becoming a prosecutor. I thought that would be like a good way to clean up the streets, give back to the community. And then I worked for the DA of Los Angeles, and I just saw like, I guess, the inner workings of the district attorney system, and I was just I was let down, and I figured I might join the other guys.
Can you give us a little bit of details about that, a bit of the inside baseball on what you saw going on?
To me, it just felt like justice for them was all about an assembly line. They were just trying to get these cases through the system. They weren't really, they weren't using their discretion to see like, maybe we shouldn't charge this after all. I feel like there was like an emphasis on winning. And I don't think justice should be about winning. You should want the truth to win, not, you don't want to just get a conviction for conviction's sake.
Absolutely. I had a similar experience to you, Patriot J, when I worked in the foster care system in DC, and it was the same kind of thing. Like the girls emancipated at 21, So the goal was just like, let's get them to 21 without having another kid. Like they already had one because I work with teen moms, at least one. And the whole thing was, what can we do in our program to make sure these girls don't have any more kids before they turn 21? Like, forget if they have somewhere to go, job, skills, any of that. Doesn't matter. Like, can we get them out of the system without having more kids? Because what happens is, if they have kids in the system, then they have to take care of those kids too. They automatically, will get money and stuff like that. So the whole thing was, don't let them have any more babies. And that took on a whole lot of stuff that, is outrageous. And I think that's the problem with, the government in the Black community or any community in general, is that they just want to minimize their costs. So they have an assembly line, and their assembly line makes it so that maybe they win, maybe they lose, but guess what? They don't have to spend any additional money on this particular person. That's all that matters. And that's how they did it in foster care. And I can tell you for a fact, that is the worst possible way to get a positive outcome for an individual, because you are just always at the hands of the government. And so my clients, they knew that. So they would work they would get pregnant. They would be like, oh, y'all got to pay for the abortion. They would say, y'all, I'm have this baby. If y'all don't find the money, mysteriously the money would pop up. Then they go get the abortion, they get pregnant again, and they fighting again every, whatever, to get as much money as they can, because they can get extra money, they can get extra this, they can get extra that, all the stuff they can get when they're playing the system. And I just feel like once you get into that habit of learning how to work the system, it's really, really difficult to get out of it. And you see a lot of that through the industry. People know how to work the industry, so they go right up to the line, but they don't cross the line, because they know that if they cross the line, then it's gonna be a whole different set of problems. So on the other side, they'll say stuff in private, they'll go along to get along, and they get their roles and this and that. And next thing you know, like if something becomes too much, then it's too bad. They got to go along with it.
Yeah, that's why a lot of people, like I know people that have went to law school, they don't go into criminal law. They go into fucking corporate law. They want to make money, right? Very few people actually end up going into criminal law just because of A, you're not getting paid as much. B, just the incredible hurdles you have to face in terms of like what the system demands of you, as opposed to this idealistic picture of trying to get justice for people. It's very noble that you're going to criminal law.
Thank you, sir. I just want to help people. That's why I went to law school. I spent years educating myself on the law so I can give back the knowledge to people who don't have the privilege to do what I was able to do.
We have a comment, by the way, from Lisa Bode, which I think is kind of tongue-in-cheek, just because we've been talking about this so much. But either way, it's about CRT, critical race theory. So CRT is hot topic. You gonna ask about it, how they relate, their opinions. If you wouldn't ask, you wouldn't be the real deal. Well, look, I mean, since Lisa, in this tongue-in-cheek way, offered it up, I might as well ask you, Patriot J, what do you think about CRT?
Critical race theory. So I haven't personally read like the actual theory. Like I don't know who started it or whatever. I haven't read like that textbook, but I'll let you know that my freshman year of college, I guess I took like a CRT based English class. It was called Africana Studies. It was for my English requirement. And we read like Black artists, like Black feminists like Bell Hooks and that type of stuff. And so after that semester, I felt like kind of radicalized, I wasn't really messing with America. I was like, damn, they just want to, the whitey just wants to keep us down, So I feel like it, being exposed to that actually kind of turned me to a conservative, because I just realized how crazy that was the next semester after I took a logic course. But about the whole CRT debate that's going on right now, like I don't think it should be mandated at like the K through 12 level. If you want to take CRT in college, it should be an option because it's something to learn about. But I feel like what bugs me the most about the debate is the fact that conservatives have kind of attacked it so much, where I feel like their attacks have brought it to the spotlight, and now the libs are gonna attach attach themselves to it more. So like I've seen people who, you know how people on Instagram or like just random social media, like they're not really politically engaged, they just post about the trends. CRT is now one of the trends that these people post about, and they're talking about how like racist Republicans want to stop this from happening. So I feel like the fact that we focus so much on CRT kind of made like they made it a hero for the left, the same way that like when the left attacked the freaking Goya beans people, the right was out, you know, buying Goya beans in mass. It was just kind of like a team thing. And I don't think it was smart to attack that. And I just don't, personally, I don't think you should attack CRT, because at the end of the day, for me, it's just speech. And I think you look so silly trying to shut down speech or attack speech, especially if you're not going to provide an alternative. You can't just say like, no CRT and not say like, here's what we would replace CRT with, because it just seems so counterproductive. And the time you spent attacking CRT could be time developing, like, I don't know, an anti-CRT or just, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But I feel like also people act like CRT is the worst thing to be taught, as if most history that we learn in school is only surface level anyways. You know, people are saying like, oh, there's an agenda now in schools, but there's always been an agenda in schools. The agenda was never to promote deep critical thought. The agenda was just to get you to kind of know a lot or like a little about a lot, and then put you straight to work.
Yeah, they really, the conservative media, they always do this where they like you said, they beat something to death to the point where people don't care about it, or it becomes a shelling point for the left to say that you're either ignorant about this thing or you don't understand. It's like the typical dialectic that's
they're just ignorant. You remember?
Yeah, it's culture war theater. That's where I kind of do agree with Logo. It is culture war theater at the end of the day. But
well,
like,
I actually, my undergraduate degree was in African American studies, so this whole discussion of CRT is not new to me, because I, you know, had done a lot of research about it. And Patriot J, opposite from you, when I came out with my degree, I was able to fact check some of the stuff that they told me with my grandparents, and it didn't make sense. And so I just basically disregarded it, because I said, I don't care what they're teaching me in this book. I know that like where I'm from, I knew my history. I was very aware of my own, you know, cultural experience. So for them to try and tell me like all of this stuff about history and stuff like that, a lot of it, I was like, I don't think so. Or I would literally go ask my grandma, like, oh, grandma, have you ever heard of this? She's like, I don't know what you talking about. I was here and that didn't happen and that. I'm like, okay. So I was just able to fact check them in real time, and it's a mess. But I have actually read the research, the seminal paper from the Harvard Law Review as a part of my dissertation research. And the fact that when the discussion of CRT, it's a theory with no tenets. They never discuss who the author is. And so when you have a theory with no tenets and they don't actually pin the theory to an author, you can basically, it's just like the talents intent theory to me. Like the whole thing it's the same type of nonsense, because the research paper, it really doesn't have any tenets. And basically what has been used, and even like when other people quote like critical race theory or whatever, they don't actually quote the actual seminal research, which is, I don't even know how these people got degrees, because that's one of the things you have to do. You have to quote the seminal research, and nobody even knows what it is. Like, I have it on my phone. I was just looking for it. I can't even find it right now, because the article's from like 1987. But when you look at that time period, what was going on at that time, that was when the whole return to Africa sort of thing was starting to, that started in the 70s. Islam was starting to really like pick up. So in that context, it was really like supposed to like be a coagulation of the Black community, which I absolutely hate that term, because all Black people aren't the same. And to put us all in the same group, again, is a huge problem to me, because the person who just came here yesterday from Senegal is not like me, period. They're not ever going to be like me. We don't share genealogy. We don't share characteristics. we're not the same. And so that whole the shifting from the use of Negro to the use of Black really took away African Americans' identity. And so like the whole like now with them talking about this CRT, the way that they use it however they want to use it, which is why it's a stupid thing to attack. I agree with you, Patriot J, because there's no tenets, there's no theory. If anybody actually read the actual theory, then maybe they could argue about it. But these people are arguing about what somebody else said about the theory. That's insane.
Are you a fan of Octavia Butler, Hotep Sophia?
I don't know who that is.
Oh, really? Because she's pretty big in the like African American studies and
I mean the problem
really
with
like Black
African American
feminism
studies. Oh, the Black. Okay, so I had to take some feminism courses. So I really didn't understand that because I was like, what in the my advisor was a white gay woman from the Midwest. And my thesis,
she moved out to the
my
country.
Thesis was, it was kind of like odd. I was just like, okay, and my thesis was on go-go. So like, I knew she didn't know what I was talking about. Like this is what always happens to me as an intellectual. Like nobody ever knows what I'm talking about. They can't connect the dots because if you didn't grow up in DC, you don't know go-go anyway. Like you don't understand the history. You haven't talked to people who lived it their whole life. You just don't get it. And so to like anytime that topic comes up, people are just like, oh, okay, it's just like jazz. Like, no, it's nothing like jazz. It's not, it didn't even come about the same way as jazz came about. So it's like, it's the same thing. It's like arguing with people who have no idea what they're talking about. It's so
Black feminism is a real weird sort of conglomeration.
It's complete nonsense. I mean, how can you have a Black feminism when the Black women are complaining about not having enough Black men? This makes no sense. Like, it's like, they just threw a topic together and said, okay, this is what you guys are going to argue about for the next 50 years. You know what I mean? And here we go with the Black feminism because all Black women want a Black man, period. Even if the woman is dating another woman,
a lot of them that want
dating another woman, the woman they're dating is like a man. Like they all want a Black man. It's much better to just find you one and work on them until they're fine because Black men are very, very, very rare to find ones that are like straight and not too damaged, like extremely rare.
What do you think, Patriot J? Do you think that like it's imperative that you should find a good Black woman? Like, do you have any qualms about like what Hotep Sophia is saying? Like, do you agree or like do you think that you should? How can I phrase this in a politically correct way?
For Black men, it's different though. They don't have the same responsibility as Black women. They just don't.
I feel like I want a Black wife because I want Black kids because I think Black people are tight and I want to be able to like look at my kids and recognize them. But I'm not like, I don't know, super like Black militant nationalist about it. Like I'm not gonna not date someone who's not Black because they're not Black. If they're cool and I like them, I'm not gonna stop my feelings from brewing, you know. But ideally, I would have a Black wife, Black kids.
But that's the debate, right? Because like Hotep Sophia, we talked about this before, but I want to get your opinion, Patriot J, about you have like the Nation of Islam people, like that thought during the 70s and 80s, where it's like, you know, we have to return to Africa and that Islam is the African religion and so forth. But then there's other people now in Black nationalism that think that American Black people are sufficiently different and that you should honor yourself as an American Black person rather than going to this appropriation of like African culture, whatever that means, whether it's from it's always like Central Africa too. It's never like the North.
Well, there's also
it's either Northern or Central.
There's also Marcus Garvey. So that was he was not in the Nation of Islam, but that was just like another individual. Actually, not really brought up that often, right? Hotep Sophia, like Marcus Garvey.
No, they don't talk about Marcus. They leave him out of the conversation. He had a lot of problems, so.
I think we should make Negro great again because it's so it like so distinctually describes the American Black experience and it like what Sophia was saying before, it's so different from like an African Black, you know, it's like completely different. And I think we need something to kind of, I don't know, like, yeah, I'm Black, but I'm like an American Black. Like I remember one time I tweeted I tweeted like, I wonder what type of African I really am. And somebody was like, bro, you're an American African. And I'm like, damn, that's like so true. Like I trace my roots back to like the East Coast, not some tribe in North Africa or something.
Because at a certain point, I think people and the land that they are on end up fusing together. There's like a relationship going on between the people. It's kind of like we had
well, we know the American blacks came from Egypt. So no, I'm kidding.
Well, it's kind of like
American blacks came.
We was kings, nigga. We was kings.
We was here. Not even we were here. Like we didn't come from somewhere else. This is the whole problem. Like there's a lot of research. Like people talk about this. We're from here, like this, from America, like this is our homeland. Like we didn't come from somewhere else. We didn't come from Africa. That whole thing. I mean, I sort of follow the Dane Calloway school of history, which is basically we were here and they bought other people. They took people from here to Africa to mess up the pool, because if you look at the slave records, like the records on the ships, those are all open source. That stuff started like in the 70s, and you can name a ship right now, go and put it on the record, and all of a sudden you got people coming on a ship that you name, people that you name on a ship that you name coming from a place that you name. Oh my
God! So
it's
this
all
is some hardcore
source
stuff.
It's awful.
Man.
I mean, that's the problem. So like, until we have a reckoning with African American history and our history in America, everyone's history in America, really, until the Americas, like this whole continent, until we have a reckoning of that, there's no way we can have an honest conversation. That's why critical race theory is nonsense, because you're talking about me being angry at somebody when we both came from the same place. That's like, what I don't understand that. We was Native Americans. Facts. We was Native Americans. We were the natives.
Oh my God. I
don't think that'll get you banned.
No, I think that's fine.
Wow.
Yeah. I was kind of wondering about the gamer words that were uttered, but at the same time I was just thinking
it's all right.
If that was the case, there wouldn't be that many rap songs on YouTube.
Oh God.
Negro's not a gamer word. We said Negro.
Sure. Yeah, and then there was
you can say it, but that's
that's the term.
Can your people say it?
I use it all the time. It's accurate. I mean, if you look at all of the books written from the turn of the century, Negroes in Negro land. I mean, this is why
Negro land. Let's go.
This is how the term. It's a book. It's a real book called Negroes in Negro land. It outlines this history. It's from like 1900 or 1895 or something like that. There were people during Reconstruction who were trying to document our history so that this thing that's happening now in this country wouldn't happen. Because if we were honest about that history, then other history couldn't be lied about. Like all of the Irish being brought here for slaves. Nobody wants to talk about that. I would love to see reparations. Yeah. How are you going to do reparations without giving them to the Irish? That's impossible. They were
reparations for Irish people. Let's go.
I mean, I hate to even. This is the side of the argument I end up on. Like, I don't know.
Well, my people came here. We pretty much were indentured servants along with the Irish, not to the same degree, obviously, but we still face discrimination. Like one of the worst hate crimes in American history was done against us Italian people. So, of course, we are African though, as Italians. So people.
I say Italians were in because
we have 3 African people here. So I am with you. Salam alaikum, my brother. Thank you.
Oh my God.
we also had a question earlier on from Philip Daniel. Let me see if I could find this. So Philip Daniel was asking, what do you guys think? And I think this was directed to Hotep Sophia, of Ivan van Sertima. So he was a Guyanese-born British associate professor of Africana Studies at Rutgers University in the U.S. So I'm not familiar with him. I have no idea what he's about. Let me take a look at it. Okay, he was best known for his Olmec alternative origin speculations, a brand of pre-Columbian contact theory, which he proposed in the book They Came Before Columbus, So let's see what this says over here. Olmec, or alternative origin speculations, are non-mainstream theories that have been suggested for the formation of the Olmec civilization, which contradict generally accepted scholarly consensus. These origin theories typically involve contact with old world societies, although these speculations have become somewhat well known within pop culture, particularly the idea of African connection to the Olmec. They are not regarded as credible by mainstream researchers of Mesoamerica and are considered fringe theories. So let me take a look at some masks over here. So this is just from the here we go. Here is one of them that's on the Wikipedia. So
that looks like an African person.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of,
Yeah.
it kind of does, but at the same time, I don't know, like,
it's got some Asian.
It's kind of Asian, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the
maybe
famous,
it's an aliens, Lev. I don't know.
Yes, I mean the famous Olmec heads. Like, I think you guys know the ones I'm talking about, right? Like this head, for instance, over here. I am not an expert on this whatsoever, but I think
that looks like an African person.
So what does he say? That's not African?
Well, no. I think his point was that that is African. That's kind of like the African.
But it's a fringe theory.
Yeah,
that academia they don't accept. Like,
academia doesn't accept anything.
Yeah,
if I told academia the history, like my family history in PG County, they wouldn't believe me, or my family history in Salisbury. They wouldn't believe me. They'd be like, that didn't happen. And I would be like, of course it happened. Like, my great grandfather was adopted. Like, this would have been like 1895. They don't really have records for stuff like that. They don't, there's no believing in stuff like this that it happened. You know what I mean? And so the academia is way behind it. I mean, they're way behind what's really going on, as usual.
I like this take over here from Mehran, who's a longtime listener of the show. Uber Boyo, who I highly recommend you guys check out. He's going to be coming here with Jason Giorgiani. He's going to be coming here later on as well with Jonathan Peugeot. Uber Boyo made it completely clear what it means to be noble, i.e. Aryan. It's about to know what's real shit important. The black community should use their voice and imagination to transcend to Iran. I'm not sure what transcending to Iran means, but I guess the point here is that it really doesn't matter, and I agree with this. It does not matter at all what you look like, where you come from. There are certain noble characteristics that people are capable of generating if they work on themselves, and that's kind of how I judge people, at least.
Yeah, that's very fair.
Hey, is this show now Lev and Geo? Just curious. Did Jules get fired?
No, Jules is around right now. Jules is working. Jules is doing some stuff in what is it called? The cyber tech. What is it, Geo? I don't remember what it's called. Cyber warfare, cyber spying
Cyberpunk?
Stuff. No, there's some kind of thing that he signed up for. But anyway, I'm not gonna get into.
Just admit you fired Jules, and it's now Lev and Geo.
No,
well,
just admit it.
No,
he's
Andrew.
getting cult programming right now.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
MK Ultra. Jules is getting an MK Ultra as we speak.
That might be an improvement. I
mean, you've seen the shirt, by the way.
He's gonna come back blonde.
Yeah.
Shout out to Grift. Shout out to Grift Shop. So Grift Shop, I am really a big fan of theirs, and they do all these T-shirts. They have one. Let's see if I could find it here. I like this one over here. Here, I'm gonna show it to you guys in the chat. I'm not even gonna say what it is before I show it to you. So here we go.
Oh God.
Corn Pop
Truth. Oh my God. Oh.
They have a lot of good stuff. I wanna team up with them too. But actually, on the subject of merch, Patriot J, do you have any merch right now, or do you plan on doing anything related to merch?
I do have a little bit of merch. Hold on.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about. While Patriot J is grabbing his merch, I want to show off some of our merch. This is the Brittany Venti moth magnet, which can be yours for $20 patronage. Patreon.com/breaktherules. You see this moth over here, Patriot J? My father created this moth. He made it out of wood, and it is a magnet. So you can see on the other side here, this is the magnet. So you could put this up on your fridge, decorated. You're going to be the jealousy of all your friends, family, loved ones, cats, dogs. They're all going to be jealous that you have this magnet. And this could be yours once again.
Oh Lord. Is the other magnet still available?
Which other magnet?
Legit. I need legit
Oh,
magnets. Send me
okay.
the link. I forgot to do it when you said it last time. So
Okay,
please email me a
Sophia,
link because I want a legit magnet.
Okay, if you want a definitely legit magnet, we can make that possible. It's going to be the third one because we already have 2 definitely legit magnets that were constructed, and we are going to get a third one. In fact, over here, let me show it off for the people. Here, you can see in the stream, this is the lovely Alexandra Plotnik modeling the definitely legit magnet, and that's going to be yours for a $20
Just send me the link. I keep forgetting.
It's patreon.com/breaktherules. That is the link for our Patreon. Become a patron today, and you will not regret it. We are having so many amazing things on Patreon. We are having top secret Patreon only streams. We are having MP3s of all the episodes that come out here before anybody else gets them. We have certain Discord perks as well, certain special places there. And for $30, you are going to get a beautiful print from Giovanni Pennacchietti. Watch him go. Look at this beautiful process of creating
we can't see it, but you can.
Yes, of creating these beautiful, beautiful woodblock prints. It is quite an amazing thing, and that could be yours. And if you want a beautiful frame for your print, or if you want anything else made out of wood, $50 patronage is going to give you all of the above plus a custom magnet, whatever design you want. If you want a Patriot J, no, I'm not going to do that from now on. I'm going to stop, okay? Because I have this role that I went on where I just end up talking about my father making magnets of like the faces of the guests that we have on stream. But that's probably intruding, so I'm not going to do that unless you want me to, okay? Nobody's
I don't know. Look, I got a little bit of merch on my shop. You can get this cool shirt. It says Patriot. It's got a flag. It's nicely embroidered.
Oh, nice.
So good. I like embroidered pieces because I feel like it's a little more quality. I got shirts. I got hoodies. It's getting cold. I got beanies. And I got my album, patriotj.com/shop. You can check it out. I'm also going to throw up I just had a graduation festival and I made some merch for that, and I've got some leftover t-shirts, so I'm going to be putting that up on my website this week too. Got some cool stuff on there, patriotj.com/shop.
Here it is. I am putting it on the Discord right now, patriotj.com/shop. Everybody, go there right now. Support Patriot J. Amazing, rising young man right now. This is the future of hip hop right here, and I'm very honored to have Patriot J joining us today for the stream. And by the way, Patriot J, do you want to join us for Hotep Jesus? That is coming up. Let's see when that's coming up. That is,
yeah, dude, that would be fun.
Yeah, that is coming up. I will tell you right now. Hotep Jesus is coming up Tuesday, August 24th. That is Hotep Jesus. So let us know if you want to make it in. It's gonna be real.
Speaking of Hotep Jesus, Friday, August 27th, Hotep Con weekend, kind of in Vegas. I'm performing Friday night. I'll be there. I'll probably do like an hour-long set of some of my old music and all the new stuff from the album. You can get tickets at patriotj.com/Vegas. It's gonna be at the Ahern Hotel, which is like. It's like one block around the corner from the strip.
Hotep Sophia, have you ever attended Hotep Con before? I keep hearing about it.
No, I wanted to go, but I'm in Florida and I don't want to end up in Vegas and can't get out. So
that's a whole other meeting for whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas permanently.
This is right. Year that I think they're doing it. They were gonna have a conference last year, but kind of COVID ruined those plans. Yeah. So I'm excited. I'd never met Hotep Jesus in person before. It's gonna be dope to link with him and Uncle Hotep, Do Dubes, everybody in the Hotep Nation.
Aww.
Excellent. Well, speaking of linking up, by the way, I know I mentioned them before. I know it's kind of a meme, but I am curious. What do you think of Spot'em Gotham and Pooh Shiesty?
Oh my.
Okay, wait. Before y'all talk, I can.
Every
I have
stream
to go to my step class. I can't be involved in no Pooh Shiesty and no Child Gotham. So I do have to go to step class, guys. So
all right, Hotep Sophia, thank you so much for coming in.
See y'all next time.
Take care.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get out of here in probably like 10 more minutes, but I don't know. I do not listen to Spot'em Gotham like at all. I couldn't name a single song. He's got the beatbox song. That was his like popular one, right?
Yeah, and then
so that's the only one I know. And then Pooh Shiesty, I can't name a single Pooh Shiesty song. I know what he sounds like. See, what the hell is that, man?
Spot'em got him arrested for aggravated assault with a firearm. So yeah, that's what ended up happening. Poor Spot'em got him.
I don't know.
Did you see that meme, by the way, with Spot'em got him with the black dude narrating it, like his sexual experience in Boca Raton with Spot'em got him?
No,
all right, I'm kind of tempting if I should share it with you after the stream or not. Gio, do you know the copy paste I'm talking about?
Which one?
Oh man, the one about Spot'em got him being on his mind because of the experience that he had with him in the Boca Raton hotel. I mean, no, I'm not gonna get into this right now. For those in the know, you're in the know, and you know what I'm talking about. Anyway.
Oh my god.
Okay, enough Spot'em got him for now. And in general, this kind of points to the problem that I see with a lot of the rap music today, where it just feels very disconnected from reality. It says, like, when I hear Spot'em got him speak, it's as if he's just speaking in tongues, like he's just in this alternative state of being that, you know, I don't even know what the guy is saying anymore. It's like he's completely gone.
Well, I feel like a lot of these rappers kind of channel darker energies when they're in the booth recording. I know, like, I think Absol's on record talking about like being influenced by Aleister Crowley. He named one of his albums "Do What Thou Wilt," which I believe is like a Crowley quote. So I don't know. It gets dark in those studios. I can only imagine. That is why I write all of my songs right here in my bedroom.
Definitely.
Jay, you got to listen to Del the Funky Homo Sapien if you haven't. That's some classic.
Dude, I like Del. I like Del a lot. I only know a couple songs. Mr. Dabalina is like one of my favorite ones.
You got to listen to his album, Both Sides of the Brain. He's got some great stuff, and Deltron 3030 is really good.
Yeah, I've heard good things about Deltron 3030.
What's the meme question? Do you listen to Blatty? Is that?
I'm not sure what Blatty is.
That's the.
I know. I've seen his name. I've never listened to him.
Yeah, I don't think anyone has. I think people.
Is it Blatty? I always thought it was Blatty.
Yeah, something like that.
Well,
I don't know.
Before we go to super chats to close this amazing stream off, I just
super chats.
I just want to mention that Pooh Shiesty in Russian, when you say Pushisty, it means fluffy. Now you know.
There you go.
Now you know.
That's funny.
The more you know.
All right. Okay, so far, actually, today we had the Oliver Tree super chat. No other super chats right now. But listen, guys, support us either through the super chats or through Patreon, patreon.com/breaktherules.
I'm answering any super chatted question that comes in right now.
There we go.
In the next 5 minutes or so.
There we go. It is on right now. But before that, Gio, do you have any questions for Patriot J?
Just how you see. I think this was easier to answer years ago, but where do you see this thing, like, in terms of Black identity in America? Where do you see it going? Do you think that? Oh yeah, and also MF Doom. I love MF Doom. But where do you see like the Black community in America like going after our sort of miasma of like culture war, critical race theory crap, Black Lives Matter? Like, where do you what does the future look like for Black people in America?
Well, I think we need to start having more children. I don't know. Predictions suck because it's just a prediction. But what I would like to see is more focus on group economics, keeping the dollar within the Black community. I know Sophia didn't like that term, but spend your money with Black people to kind of increase the median Black wealth or whatever. I think Black people need to hopefully, after getting Trump out, which was a big goal of, I guess, Black people in the 2020 election, hopefully after getting Trump out and kind of seeing what Biden definitely is not going to do for us, I don't see him or his successor within the next 4 years, like, at all doing anything positive. So hopefully after realizing, hey, maybe Trump wasn't that bad, or hey, these Democrats didn't do anything for us, I think we need to just focus not on politics, but just on ourselves. You know, it's I feel like relying on the government to kind of come in and clean up your community is always a bad strategy, because the government sucks and they probably won't get around to it. And even if they did get around to it, they're gonna ruin it. You know, the government doesn't ever really bring a net benefit. I feel like real change comes from the private sector, comes from everyday Americans. So I think once Black people kind of realize their power, I think we'll see a more prosperous Black American nation. But that's just the optimist in me. It could very well be another 60 years of a democratic stronghold and failed policies and destructive communities. Who knows?
It's funny, like, I know it's a total like meme point that doesn't even matter. And I know, like, when conservatives say it's terror, it's like, you know, the left doesn't care. But it's funny, like, how they portray Trump as being this particularly racist against Black people, because in the beginning of his term it was like the Mexicans, right? But now it's like at the end they're like, well, Black people he hates. But like Joe Biden, I know, again, this is a total cringe normie conservative point, but like Joe Biden was like great friends with fucking Robert Byrd, the head of the KKK in Delaware, because Delaware was a KKK stronghold in the North, I believe so. And it's like he was friends with Robert Byrd, and Hillary Clinton spoke at his funeral. It's like this guy, and he voted for the crime bills that put countless Black American men behind bars. That like Joe Biden has done more to destroy the Black community than the past, besides Clinton, the past like few presidents combined, right? So it's
you're just repeating a meme, bro. The Black community asked for the 94 crime bill. They asked for it because the crime was so bad. You should
the
watch
super predators.
Well,
yeah,
you should watch.
Hotep
the Congressional Black Caucus heavily supported that bill. Andrew's right.
Well, yeah, Hotep Sophia.
Yeah, that's
Hotep
true.
Sophia would agree as well, as far as like the drug problems that were going on in the area and all that. Now it's different.
Yeah, but I mean that's kind of
no, but it's a different thing to say that the justice system is definitely screwed up, like
yeah,
Patriot
there
J
is
was
an
mentioning.
argument.
But we got to get to our final question. It's the most important one, and this is a super chat from Cream Wizard, and here it comes. It's a super chat. You have to honor it. You have to honor the super chat. Chris Chan. Okay, Patriot J. Chris Chan. Thoughts? Sonichu, Robert Chu.
What is Chris Chan?
Oh no!
Oh, is that the guy who got caught like raping his mom or something?
Yes. Yeah. But there's so much deep lore.
Yeah,
you're gonna be here all night.
Right over me.
Yeah.
I saw that weird headline. I said, all right, I'll let Ethan Ralph handle this one.
Oh god.
All right, well, Gio, you know what to do. Next, we'll just send Patriot J the documentary, and we'll start the process.
What is it now? Like, it's got to be like 10 hours now.
Probably more.
There's this documentary on Chris Chan by Gino Samuel. I personally think Ethan Ralph's theory is bullshit, by the way, but that's just me. So I believe the question was F, Marry, Kill. What was it, Lev?
Yes. Fuck, Marry, Kill. It was Chris Chan, Sonichu, Robert Chu. Well, I mean, Robert Chu's already bought the farm, so you know, that one already. Well, I guess.
Well, you got to marry Rosa Chu. That's the only woman in there. So
no, there's no
I'm sorry,
Rosa
I misgendered Chris. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, wait,
you guys are speaking like a foreign language to me right now.
Yeah. It's...
All right, you know what I'm
Rosa
going to do?
Chu was kind of hot.
No, there was no Rosa
comics.
Chu there. There was no Rosa Chu there. It was Chris Chan, Sonichu, and Robert Chu.
There was no Rosa Chu. I didn't read Rosa Chu.
Yeah. Okay, I'll send you one image right now, Patriot J. This is what I'm gonna leave you at with no other reference. This is what Sonichu looks like. Okay, so just give me your
his character he created.
Yeah, give me your impression of Sonichu.
Sorry, she created. Sorry.
Sonic Chu.
Sonichu. It's a combination of Sonic and Pikachu.
Chris Chan, when
very accurate, I guess.
Took like Pikachu, like
Pikachu.
Yeah, it took like a Sonic and made it yellow like Pikachu and created Sonichu, which then I can't get into it. There's too much. You have to go and
yes, we're not going to subject you to any more torture, Patriot J. So I really
thank you guys.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you very
Patriot
much.
J
Thank
today.
you, my friend.
Please follow Patriot J on Twitter. Please buy his merch. Please buy his albums. Just please support him. And thank you again so much. So here we go. Twitter.com/Sir Hottest. That is how you find Patriot J. Andrew
Sir Hottest on Twitter, Instagram. Search Patriot J on Spotify, Apple, SoundCloud, YouTube, wherever you listen to music. And Have a good time.
Excellent. And of course,
Nice.
twitter.com/TheAndrewMeyer3. Thank you so much, Andrew, for coming in today.
Yeah.
And of
Why would anyone follow me from watching this? All they heard me do is rebuke Geo one time and give you a dream interpretation. No one's gonna follow me from that.
yes, they will. And
You
speaking
never
of
know,
Geo,
Andrew.
The JR3. Oh, sorry. No, I'm not going to do that joke.
speaking of Twitter,
JR3,
okay,
JR3.
here we go. Giant Geo. Follow Giant Geo on Twitter,
On
and
Twitter,
of course Giant Art Productions. That's YouTube, Giant Art Productions.
I haven't had time to do my Book of Revelations reading series,
but it's a great series, so check it out.
And also, I'm going to release a video on this thing the UN did, where it's like this future utopia for like eating the pod and living the bugs. We're eating the bugs and living in the pod. Well, you know what?
Maybe we can have like Nephilim coming back, and the pods will be like these sandwiches that the people will already be inside. So they will actually eat the pods, like eating a Hot Pocket.
It's funny because the Book of Revelations, they talk about the locust being like people. So the Book of Revelations literally predicted the bug man. So
nice.
There you go.
And of course, follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/LevPo, LevPo, at LevPo. And of course, youtube.com/Lev Polyakov. You could see my animations. You could see the Lev stream, which is coming back soon. I have not had that much time to work on anything except for, well, anyway, I'm not going to get into it right now, but let's just say that BTR is growing. It's growing thanks to your help. But if you keep supporting us, we're going to grow even faster, and we're going to have a lot of good stuff for you ahead. So, youtube.com/Lev Polyakov, breaktherules.tv, that is our main YouTube, patreon.com/breaktherules. Become a patron today. I cannot stress hard enough how important it is to become a patron.
Become a pay pigoo right now.
Exactly.
Today.
Give them your money.
Hell yeah. And that is the end of our stream. Thank you so much, Patriot J, for being here. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you guys for having me. Great conversation. Have fun.
Absolutely.